Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's not your average Josh back here, and this time I am here for actually not a movie review. Actually, gonna give my thoughts on the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus, Andor, created and written by Tony Gilroy. Also, Dan Gilroy on the writing for some of it as well, starring Diego Luna as Andor. And let me just say right off the bat, I was really excited for the show. I love Star Wars. My general feelings are for like the big franchises. Marvel and Star Wars are kind of my favorites, but in the end, Star Wars is really my number one favorite. I just love the whole universe, the ideas, the different concepts that happen throughout all the different movies and shows now. I just love the magic. I love the idea of the Jedi and the Sith. I love, of course, the original trilogy. Just so many magical moments in that. But I just love Star Wars. So this series coming out, I was really excited for it. I saw the trailer, and I was immediately. It looked really good. It looked like it had a classic Star Wars mixed with some of that politics that a lot of people are looking for more in Star Wars. Even me. Also, I think that's one of the things that really worked with the Clone Wars series. I really loved that series, watching that all the way through, and then being able to enjoy that last season when they put it on Disney Plus. So I thought from the trailer, this looked like it could have a really good potential to be right up there with The Mandalorian, which I also love as well, and hopefully better than Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. So I got into this show, and since this video is coming out now, I will briefly talk about the first 3 episodes that came out last week, and then I will go into episode 4 kind of more deeply because that just came out. But yeah, in terms of episode 1 versus 3, I thought this show did a great job, first of all, releasing them all 3 at once, because I do think it was just more beneficial in the end for the show to get people on board, even though I have heard just from some people that this show isn't being as well received as they hoped it would for how good it really is. But I thought it was a good idea releasing all 3 at once. They're not too long of episodes. It's not like they're all like an hour long, so you could get through it in about an hour and a half, hour 40. So I thought it was a good idea, and I thought it was a great way to set up this kind of journey we're going to be following, mainly with Cassian Andor. It's kind of where the audience eyes lie throughout this series so far. I love the idea of following him, and we meet him before he's even involved with the rebellion at all. He's just this guy scheming and not necessarily like an evil way, but just trying to get by as best he can, has all these little plots going on, ways to get money, but also loves to get back at the Empire as well. And I love the fact that we went back periodically throughout these first 3 episodes. I love the fact that we went back to his childhood and kind of see a little bit what his journey was like. We kind of heard a little bit, just a few little mentions in Rogue One. It was good to explore that furthermore and see eventually. Again, there will be spoilers on this, so just let everyone know that now. Eventually, to see the tragedy that unfolded, or necessarily it was a tragedy in a way, what led to a tragedy, I would say, for the Republic at the time, who turns into the Empire, coming and messing up this people's way of life, even though it didn't look that good anyway, because I didn't see one adult around with these kids. There was all these kids, kind of like a Lord of the Flies situation. I've heard several people mention that, and that's definitely very accurate. That's the first thing I thought of when I was watching it, and no adults around. But you get to see how Cassian was taken from that planet, presumably the one that he grew up on, and how he got basically his surrogate mother or adopted mother saved him from what she thought they would end up, going after his people after some Republic ship landed, and a couple of them ended up dying. They would blame it on the people there. She ends up saving Cassian, and with this guy that she's with, and then that you kind of get that story. And how he got to the place that he's at now, where we're seeing the current events take place in most of these first 3 episodes. From the moment this series started, the writing has been so great, and with that moment with can't remember the name now. It's been a week now. I can't remember her name. She wasn't in the latest episode that saved Cassian when he was a young kid, and I love how that mirrored with what happened at the end of episode 3 when you get Stellan Skarsgård's character come and save Cassian again. He ends up flying away in both scenarios, and they both really symbolized this ending of this point in his life to a new point. both just changes in the trajectory of where he's going to go in his life. And I love the mirroring effect there. It was really great writing, and the way it came together, it was very well done. But as far as like everything else happens in the first 3 episodes, I thought it was just a great getting to know Cassian at this point in his life. Of course, you meet the girl that is with him. You see a little bit of how they have been working together, and their little plotting that is going on, and how they kind of make money on the side. And she really is the one on this planet through this time before he leaves at the end of episode 3 with Stellan Skarsgård that is really watching his back the most. But even her, I mean, everybody around Cassian is starting to get tired. With him, he owes debts to certain people. He just gets in over his head a little bit, but that is really how he's learned to survive in this time. Even though he still has his the woman that saved him, he's still with her, but he's always off doing different stuff, going on these missions to try and make money. So he's double-crossed some people, and some people are not happy with him, but she's really the one who stayed by him. And I really loved her character. That was a great groundwork in laying kind of who Cassian is. And I do want to mention the opening. I mean, the first sequence that happens in this series, episode 1, it had this great Blade Runner feel and just grunginess. It felt like Star Wars, but also it had this just different feel to it. It was different, but it felt like it was in the world, and I think that is a great balance. This show may end up having a perfect balance with that. I think they're just doing a great job so far in really every episode with the writing, the acting, and the fact that you have Tony Gilroy doing the series, writing it. I think him and Dan Gilroy, I think the show really benefited from that, because you have the man who basically most people say was mostly responsible for Rogue One. It's great to have him here to further expound on his idea, because if you've seen any interviews with him or heard him talk about it, he doesn't really necessarily care about Star Wars that much in terms of the overall fan service type stuff, but he cares about these certain characters, Andor, and of course all the characters in Rogue One, but now the characters that are in this show particular. And I think that is really cool that he can still somehow balance it, because there really is a lot of Easter egg stuff in here, or stuff that does connect and add further context that does make the overall, even the Skywalker saga, better as well. Just the little insights we're getting on the Empire, it's really stuff we've always wanted to see, like Game of Thrones type stuff. It's getting into the politics of things, the people that are a part of the rebellion, but also working with the Empire, still trying to save face and work from the inside and try and tear it down. It's just really cool. And then of course you have guys like Andor, who are really the people on the ground doing some of the more dirty work. It's really cool to see the dynamics, and how just really from the very beginning, another perspective. You get the show Rebels that was out, but that was animated. I do think this show does a good job in live action form, showing us the beginning of the rebellion, the true really sprouts starting to get up. The Rebels show, the animated show, was following more really one group, and this is following more one man, I guess, but it's showing more sides, and you're getting these, Andor's not in every scene. And so you'll see in this next episode, and I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much say for the rest of this review, I'm going to be talking about episode 4 now. Just in this episode, I love how it started out with Stellan giving Andor another speech like he gave in episode 3, basically really just still trying to convince Cassian, and finally comes out and says, I wasn't there for that Star Path unit, or whatever the fuck it was. I don't know. But I'm not here for that Star Path unit. I was there for you, the person that could get the Star Path unit, or whatever it was. I'm not sure if that was it. And I think him finally admitting that to Andor really got him okay, what else am I going to do anyway? I'm already on board with this guy. He got me out of there. I might as well try and do this. And also, Cassian doesn't know how dangerous it is yet. And I love Stellan's kind of mob boss mentality in this. He's really architecting whatever this mission is. We got a little bit of the details. It looks a little bit like a Top Gun Maverick type scenario, almost impossible, but we're the only hope. We got to do this. We only have 9 minutes, so we have to rely on this big meteor shower that's coming through. That's just a classic idea to me. I was really in on that idea from the beginning of this episode. And then when you meet the other crew, that Andor and this girl that is now the leader of this little group that Andor is basically undercover in, even for them, they all think his name is Clem. I just love that him and Stellan are really the only ones on the same page completely, even though Stellan said to the girl that he said what she needed to hear, that hey man, he's just a rented guy, that means we can just get rid of him when we want to. He's just playing all the pieces right to try and make this happen, because you can see that his main plan in the end of the day, he may care about the girl and Andor, because the other people in the crew don't know about Stellan, but he may care about them too. But I still think in the end he just wants to take the Empire down at this point. He really seems like he's in that mindset. I love the speech that he gives the main girl when he's telling her about Cassian, that he's going to be on the crew now. It's really surprising her. And of course, I love also that she even tells her that his name is Clem, not Cassian. There's just all this, the spy espionage is really at a 10 here in this show, and it's being done so well. I'm just in for it. In this episode, once, as I was saying, Stellan has that speech to her, and he just yells her. I love that just intensity, like really putting it in perspective, like this is huge here. Like if this doesn't succeed, this is going to be a huge blow and try and take the Empire down, and this rebellion is going to be taken down a notch. I love that. And then when you meet the other crew, the cast of characters, I was just immediately on board again. Just them all, as soon as they come into frame in whatever scene is their first appearance, they just feel like they're a part of this crew. For some reason, just the way this show is shot and how the first 3 episodes have been consistently good with the writing, you immediately see them come on. Also, I have to mention the way this looks like a lot of it was shot on location. That adds so much to the effect. I mean, that was what was so great about the original trilogy. And then even the actors they get, there is something, I've heard this mentioned already, there is something to having British or people from Europe speaking, having these acting roles in the Star Wars. It adds to the effect. Those accents, I don't know what it is, like James Bond, it just adds something to the effect. That was what some people complained. I didn't have as much of a problem with it in like the sequel trilogy. Some people said not enough British. I mean, I didn't really have not enough British actors or whatever you want to say, people from Europe. But I do say though, when I watch this show, it does add a great effect to it. There's just something about it, like when Tarkin talked. I'm just realizing now that Vel is actually the name of the girl in this episode. Vel is the leader of the that ragtag group. As far as the rest of the episode goes, it's just basically the crew that Cassian's a part of now, this little rebel group, basically planning planning what they're gonna do to try and steal this payroll, which I love that they're stealing this huge payroll for all these Imperial people, Imperial commanders, soldiers, whatever, the Imperial sector. I love that idea. It just adds this slight little gangster feel, but also it had this classic Star Wars feel when they're gathered around and just discussing this and talking about how impossible it is and but we're gonna do it anyway. It makes you, I don't know, it gives you this good feeling. It gives me a good feeling inside. Why I love Star Wars, just that fight against, for hope, and the fight against good and evil. And as I said, I mean, the dialogue is just so great. You just see Cassian is just playing the character so well, now being fully undercover. Like there's a few shots when he's with the camp, and there's a few shots where you can see Cassian, or you just see him working his mind, like, okay, I really am fully undercover here. Because even the girl Vel, she doesn't know that her true name is Cassian Andor. Only Stellan knows that, so he's got to be full undercover here. Even though he doesn't have to pretend like he has the abilities he has, because he can fly and everything. But he's still got to be a little more on guard, and that's why Stellan gave him that necklace that's like worth 50,000 credits, which I still don't quite understand why he gave him that. I mean, I get the idea of it. He's saying, give it to me afterwards. I'm going to see you afterwards. Kind of more incentive, like complete the mission. But that's ballsy. I mean, he could have, Cassian, that's 50,000 credits. He could have, I don't know, Star Wars money in terms of inflation and shit, like with the time period, how much, or if he could have lived on that. And other than that, I mean, that's pretty much the most of what you get with Cassian in this episode. You do get a little more within the Empire. Stellan leaves after dropping Cassian off, and he has a little conversation with Mon Mothma. And I love her being in this. She was so good in Rogue One. And just see her kind of in the beginnings of her really starting to contribute to the rebellion. And even get to see her husband, how they have this not so good relationship, and they live in this nice place. And even see Stellan Skarsgård's character live in such a nice place. A beautiful, sorry, I don't really know Stellan Skarsgård's character's name either, but just to see him transform. And I love that scene. I love the scene where he is transforming, putting on his his wig and a little bit of the makeup or whatever he's doing else with the clothing, when he's going back and pretending like he's still part of the Empire, and he's working at this shop where he sells stuff to the major senator and stuff like that. That's where him and Mon Mothma meet. But I love this transformation when he puts on the wig, he puts on the robe, and you get that moment where he's changing from his character. He's changing between characters, and you just get this smile and just a kind of a switch. I love it. I don't know. It's just like such a cool thing, especially if you've ever been in any type of acting. I don't know. It's just a cool little, like, oh man, that was a beautiful, the way they shot it just felt so nice. But yeah, you get that interaction. You know, Mon Mothma's in on this shit. You know, with the rebellion, you get that idea. She's already on it. And then you also just have this this little side plot going on with one of the Imperial guards. He's a little higher ranked than this other one that's just shown up. You get this one lady, this blonde haired lady. She starting to realize there is some patterns here with rebellion popping up, and no one wants to listen to her. That's kind of the main idea of her scenes that she has. And you start to get the idea that the Empire is really, I mean, like Cassian was saying, they're fat and happy. They're not as on guard as they should be for rebellions, and especially with how, you know, imperial, how evil they are, evil they are going to planets and fucking people up, and you know, there's going to be rebellions. You just got to be expecting that. That's pretty much most of my thoughts. How this episode ended, we're basically going to see. I mean, I love how these episodes are broken up into 3 episode chunks in terms of story arcs, or that's what it seems like so far, and that's what I'm hearing. I think this 4th episode was the last one that people that got the screeners saw up to, so people don't really know at this point. But I think it's looking like that, and I really love that. We had the 3 episode chunk that really could have been a movie. I think it really could have, but it's also being the way that you can do television now is great that they're doing it this way, so we can have 3 full episodes, basically a full movie, and then the next week have a 50-minute episode. And now I think we're going to get this. I'm not sure. I should have looked it up, but I think there's either 9 episodes or 12 episodes in this season, and they already plan out for the 2nd season, which I guess is going to be the big time jump, is what I'm thinking now. I don't know everything, but yeah, I'm excited for it, man. This is a great show. It's getting me excited about Star Wars. Not that Obi-Wan didn't. There was great moments in Obi-Wan. I love the Vader and Obi-Wan fight at the end. Too much moments felt like it was on, you know, in the volume. And I love they use that. It's so cool now what you can do with it. But I think with this show, Andor, the fact they're going, or seemingly more on location, is just adding so much to it. And it really is. Even just the interaction with this small rebel group that Cassian is now a part of, the interactions with them, it feels more real because it feels like you're at a place. You're not in Los Angeles in a studio or whatever, wherever in a studio. But yeah, that's kind of my main thoughts. I'm really in on this show. Excited for more. Excited to see where this storyline goes. Are we gonna see any loss of life? We know obviously Cassian's gonna live, but do we see any of these cast of characters go? Because I like them all. There's not one that I'm like, oh, he's a complete dick. Even the guy that came off abrasive when he showed up, he was the last one to show up and realized Cassian was there. At first, he's like, oh, is this going to be the guy who's constantly doing some shit in May, try and fuck with him? And yeah, fortunately, it ended up looking like he's going to be pretty chill, or pretty good guy in the end, too. But yeah, it's just looking great. I'm in on it. The writing, the dialogue, the way this is shot looks so beautiful. I would have loved to see any of this in a theater. Yeah, I'm in on it. That's my main thoughts on Andor. I'm going to keep watching. Not sure how many, you know, with TV shows. I don't know. I don't really have a plan for putting out videos. I just kind of wait and see. When I watch it, do I want to put it out? So this is my first one that I really wanted to put out and get my thoughts on. But yeah, what do you guys think? You know, if you're watching this, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on my socials, do all that. I post content like this. Whenever I post a YouTube video, I'll usually put a clip or something like that up on TikTok and Snapchat maybe, but also the main thing that goes there is my instant reactions when coming out of the movie theater. And I will be seeing a bunch of movies soon. I've gotten behind. I've been really busy lately, and I haven't been able to go to the movies. I have a bunch of movies coming up. Woman King, I still got to see. I've heard great things about that. Don't Worry, Darling, Smile. See How They Run, I believe is what it's called. I want to see that movie. Also, even the new Terrifier 2, Art the Clown movie. I saw the first one with my friends a year or two ago, and it was so crazy. I am interested to see where they go with it. One of the craziest scenes ever in that movie. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. So be looking. There's gonna be a lot of movie reviews I'm gonna be posting soon, but also coming up very soon after this. Be looking for. I will be posting a Monsters review. I did see the Monsters finally, and yeah, the Monsters. I watched it. It's on Netflix. If anyone wants to go check that out. But yeah, I'm gonna put that review out very soon. Probably coming shortly after this, and then of course, and later on tonight, as I'm recording this, actually in a few hours, She-Hulk comes out, and I will be watching that. And probably do a review tonight or tomorrow on that. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Andor. As I've said a few times now. Thank you guys for watching. As I said, like, comment, subscribe, socials, all that. I'll see you guys later.